Jules said, thanks everybody for joining. My name is James, and I've got more than 3 decades, 3 decades now. It hurts a little bit to say that in manufacturing. I'm a welding engineer by degree. Spent most of my career working in that capacity. The first 10 years I was in high volume manufacturing automotive industry at Honda, working at the Marysville Auto Plant, where we made the Accord and some of the Accord platform vehicles. Then I was at engineering consulting company, welding engineering consulting company for almost 20 years. And I joined KUKA about 2 years ago. The company I used to work for doing engineering consulting, you know, I saw everything from surgical devices to automobiles and everything in between, how to stick stuff together. And I can't tell you how many times I'd been in situations during that part of my career where having a pre-manufactured cell would have really been helpful. One of my colleagues used to say at that job that we worked on everything from microchips to battleships. So a lot of different form factors that we were able to see. Along with me on the webinar today are going to be, in addition to Jules, I've got Charlie Adams and Evandro Mayo, who they also have more than 40 years combined experience in automated welding process. And I'm just an old Ohio State guy, so I had to bring them here with me to help answer the hard questions that you might have at the end. As Jules said, please be sure to put your questions in the comments, and at the end we'll make time to come back and answer as many of them as you guys have. Today's session is kind of built for small and mid-sized manufacturers who need consistent weld quality and really predictable throughput without, you know, the bandwidth. They don't have the bandwidth to spec and bid and manage the purchase of a custom solution. We're going to look at how KUKA's pre-engineered Accelerate cells make automation a lot simpler, faster, and more economical, because you get a known scope, you know the footprint, you get some standardized safety options as part of it, and really it's a short path from the time you submit the purchase order till you get the first arc, because you know the system arrives pretty much as you see it on the screen there. It's assembled and it's arc strike ready. You just got to connect the utilities, feed in some wire, and start the programming. So go through the agenda real quick, kind of the plan for the next half hour or so. Appreciate you spending some time with me today. I'm glad I caught you on a Wednesday, because I know this time tomorrow everybody's going to be getting ready for the basketball tournament to start. So appreciate you guys spending time with me today before that all starts. Next half hour, we're going to start off touching on who should be interested in the Accelerate product. We kind of had an idea, obviously, of who we were targeting when we designed it. We'll go through our take on pre-engineered solutions versus custom cells and what might fit for which team. Quick cell overview, talk about some common items or common features between the cells, and then just a little bit more, a little bit of a deeper dive comparing the side-by-side and the index, and talk about when you might prefer one versus the other. We'll have a quick discussion on some options that are available on the standardized cells, and a bit about the KUKA Sim models that are available for you guys to use and help figure out whether your parts are going to fit. We will talk about installation support. We really want to talk to you about the ROI and payback, because we want to make sure that help you make this as easy as possible to sell to your CFO when you're going to get a purchase order signed. Then at the end, we have links to our website with brochures, and close out with your questions. So again, be sure to post the questions you have in the chat, and we'll answer them when we get to the end of the presentation. So who should care, right? This talk and this session and really the cell itself is primarily meant for manufacturing engineers and production managers, either at small to medium fabrication shops, maybe it's at OEMs where they want to integrate a number of compact cells, or even contract manufacturers where they handle a variety of jobs that they could take advantage of a standardized cell to feed a number of different jobs through. The common thread kind of between all of those people is, they're looking for folks who need compact economical automation solutions, and who need a short learning curve. So they have a fast return on investment, and you don't have the luxury, or you don't want the cost that's associated with building up your own internal design staff and controls team that can come up with your own cell concept. And if you're wondering, if either you haven't been much into automation yet, and you're kind of wondering what the benefits of a cell like this are, the reality that we're all dealing with, and I see it time and time again from customer after customer, is it's harder and harder to hire and retain skilled welders, right? And retirements are accelerating. It seems like people are wanting to get out of the workforce and get out of those hot, dirty environments faster than ever before. So that's creating variability and capacity at a lot of our customers, which makes you push overtime to the welders that you've got left on staff, and makes it even harder to retain those folks. And you get a lot of quality variations because you've got people working on overtime, you're hiring new welders that are, you're throwing into the line with the minimal training. And this is having a huge impact, especially on our small to medium enterprises that we work with. Our goal with Arccelerate really is to help stabilize capacity, stabilize your quality, reduce the number of manual touches, and make automated welding more approachable for your teams. We've been to way too many places. Me personally, I can't tell you how many I've seen, and how many places I've seen, and how many people I've talked to who are just short on manpower. And many of them, they also have a robot sitting somewhere in a corner collecting dust because they kind of knew, they hear the buzz that they need to automate, and they went out and bought a robot and tried to do self-integration, and it never quite got to work the way it could and should. It doesn't have to be like that. And, we're here to help you talk through why it doesn't have to be like that, and maybe a little bit better way to do it. So the next thing we want to talk about is kind of a little bit of a comparison between pre-engineered cells versus custom cells. And at the end of the day, I think you can kind of look at it through a program management lens, and it comes down to scope, schedule, and budget. And I'd actually throw in quality as a fourth aspect that you can consider. So with custom systems, they're excellent for what they do, and for complex and multi-step assembly processes, you might be stuck with doing a custom system. But the spec and the bid and the evaluate, kind of the cycles that you go through to do that with integrators for a custom system, really adds complexity to the scope. It adds months to the schedule, and obviously the cost is going to increase. You know how the cost comes with customization for anything you do, from customizing a car to when you go and look at the base price of a home build, and then you want to add custom, you want to add a basement, or you want to add a fourth bedroom or whatever. Customization obviously impacts the budget and the cost. It also builds risk, right? You have to make sure that your spec covered everything that you need. And then you got to look and make sure that the integrator's bid addresses the spec thoroughly. And it's really tough to do all that when your team is lean, right? Well, with pre-engineered cells like our Accelerate package, it's a known scope. You can come to Shelby Township and see one in action. Get your hands on the teach pendant, ask all the questions that you want before you buy it. The cells are manufactured up in Canada from modular parts that are off the shelf, ready for assembly. That means that the lead times are much, much shorter than a custom build. And when you consider all the time and costs associated with your team doing a custom solution, then the cost of our Accelerate really shows quickly why it's the right choice for many applications. Okay. Do a little bit of an overview of kind of the basic cell. As we've said, it comes kind of in two standard configurations that share a common platform, so to speak. The side-by-side is a two-station cell that we have optimized for space constraint and continuous operation. With the index cell, it has a dual zone rotary table with automated indexing and sequencing for higher throughput. Both of the cells are built around our KUKA KR6 R2010 hollow wrist robot. It's got a 2-meter reach, and it comes standard with a Fronius TPS 400i power source, and really has both systems also have our intuitive HMI. All of that is built in a solid wall safety enclosure. So operating it is really familiar, and it's straightforward and up and running in no time, right? So notice something that I didn't mention as standard common equipment. What about the PLC? So that's because everything in the cell, from the safety system to the turntable indexing to the torch cleaner, is all run through the robot. So there's no need for a standalone PLC. So again, that's kind of simplifying the learning curve and getting you to full production in a much simpler package. A little bit deeper dive into the side-by-side system. This is a picture of our Accelerate side-by-side system that's was taken a couple of months ago at our facility outside of Toronto. The side-by-side, it really is a system that kind of punches above its weight. The overall cell footprint is 104 inches by 130 by 91, which we found is really an easy fit into a lot of our smaller shops. The obvious advantage of the two stations is that you can have one job loading on one side while the robot welds the other, and it enables for continuous operation without extra door motions you need in some other designs. We've seen this work out in a couple of different ways. Some customers are running left and right components on the left and right side of the cells. Other customers use it with replicate tooling on each side of the cell to get double the throughput. And the beauty of the automation is that it opens the doors to all kinds of different possibilities, depending on how you need to run to make the manufacturing that you need to make. Fixturing space is generous. Each table is about 46 by 24 inches. It's got a standard hole pattern, which allows for really easy fixturing. And everything's made out of solid steel. The walls, table, which makes it really sturdy and easily transportable, not only to deliver it to you, but also to move it within your floor space if you need to do that. Again, all of this, the safety interlocks, e-stop, the tricolored beacons you see there, all of that is operating through the robot controller, which makes it really nice when you get the system on the floor there and you start running it. Next, we'll take a look at the indexing system. So when tack time is a little tighter and you want even fewer manual touches, the indexing cell adds a dual zone rotary table. It's our KP1 with automated indexing and sequencing. Each side will support up to 500 kilogram with a 42 by 31 inch working envelope. The index time is about 2.5 seconds. So really material keeps moving through this cell. And as with the side-by-side cell, you get the same solid steel walls, appropriate light curtains, tricolor beacons, all the stuff to make sure that everything stays safe. You might be wondering, which one is best for your application. I think a good rule of thumb is when you're trying to decide between the system, I think you use a side-by-side. If you're really budget conscious, you need something that's really compact with a 2-station continuous flow. If you've got a little bit higher requirement for takt times, you might want to look at doing the indexing station. Both of them, again, share the same robot, power supply, HMI safety philosophy. So training and spare parts is really simple. And we can help you kind of figure out, based on your application, which one we would recommend as well. Just say a little bit about the available options. So kind of our goal with these pre-manufactured cells is to keep everything as simple as we can and as common as possible. That'll allow us to pass on efficiencies of scale to you in the form of better pricing. We do, however, offer some options that we knew our customers would like to see. First up, from a power supply standpoint, you can choose either the Fronius TPS 400i that I mentioned previously, or if red is more your color, the Lincoln PowerWave R450 is also an option. Either of those choices are available to you, and they don't make any difference in the pricing of the base unit. We also have available a fume hood. So we could park it right under the fume hood you have, or we have, like I said, an option for an available fume hood for fume management, if that's something that you're interested in. And while the ArcCellerate itself, the product does not come with tooling, we're happy to continue supporting a lean environment, faster implementation by taking on some of the fixture design and build, which means that you can get a fully turnkey system. And I really hate that term, but it is true in this case. You can get a turnkey cell delivered to you in a matter of weeks, not months. These options let you tailor the cell to your parts while keeping the core system standardized for speed of delivery and simplicity. For those folks who have previously leveraged KUKA Sim for evaluating their parts with our robots, of course, we provide the KUKA Sim models for both the side-by-side and index. It will help your team validate layout, validate reach and clearances, and even start offline programming. So that means your commissioning and ramp up are faster and more predictable. If you have more questions about KUKA Sim and what it can do, please do reach out. We're happy to share more about this amazing time and cost savings tool. We've got staff sitting in Shelby Township that sits and plays with KUKA Sim all day. So we're happy to talk through the advantages and help share with you what it can do and how it can make ArcCellerate an even faster implementation when it gets to your floor. Wanted to put a couple slides up, talk a little bit about installation and support. Of course, when we deliver your ArcCellerate system, it's going to come with all the manuals and technical data that you need. There's also a QR code on the cell that guides you to installation instructions, which are really pretty easy. And I'll touch on that a little bit in the next slide. If you have other KUKA products, you should be familiar with our hotline. And if not, it's actually really nice. You'll be in for a treat. It's kind of a one-stop shop. Call the 1-800 number, and by looking at your serial number, we know what you've got, and it will allow us to direct your call and get the answers to the questions that you need in a very timely fashion. Well, our sales and after-sales support flow through the same kind of standard KUKA channels. So again, its onboarding is predictable, even for lean teams, It's what you already know if you've got KUKA. And if you don't have KUKA, you're going to really value the one-stop shop of being able to call and get the answers that you need. If you need further support, we can align with your site schedule and training plan to make sure that you're successful with the implementation. No robots get stuck in a corner. We're here to support you to make sure that you get the payback that you're looking for, and see throughput increase and quality increase, just like we've talked about in the previous slides. So let me kind of take a walk through the path to get to your first arc. First up is you make sure that your site is prepped and ready. Have your utilities ready for when we get there. And for the case of the Arccelerate, it's actually pretty easy because there's only one drop required, and it powers the entire cell. Then on the big day, your cell's going to arrive and everybody's, smiling and happy because you got a new tool. Well, it gets even better because they realize that the cell comes with fork pockets that are built into the steel base. So you can really quickly and easily transit the Arccelerate from your dock to the spot, or even you can move it around for future moves from that spot to a different spot, because we know the shop floor is often kind of a changing beast depending on what's flowing through. You park the cell in place, you drop the power, plug it in, and everything just kind of comes to life. You're ready to strike the arc. From a training standpoint, we can kind of meet you where you need us to be. We have options for training on site, or if you prefer self-paced training, there's a QR code that points you to on-demand content to refresh or reinforce the skills that you already know. Or we'd love to host you at one of our training centers, have you come in for in-depth training, not only on the operation of the robot, but we can do electrical training as well as mechanical training at our facility in Shelby Township. I also said that I wanted to hit on ROI to make sure that the CEO and CFO is happy. When I look at ROI, I kind of think of it with four drivers in mind that the Arccelerate really hits. We leverage the labor that you have, let the robot do the welding and let them do more value added operations. We have higher arc-on efficiency than what you're going to get out of a manual welder, lower scrap and lower rework, and then we can help you contain the overtime that you're going to be spending with the manual welder. A lot of manufacturers plan for 1 to 2 years payback depending on part mix and volume, and we can help you walk through an ROI worksheet, plug in the number of welders you have and shifts you run, wage rates, volumes, that type of thing, help you review it together, look at your parts, make sure that from our technical opinion, make sure that they make sense. The numbers that you put in make sense and are realistic and defendable. And then that just makes your justification to the CFO that much easier when you're looking to get a purchase order signed to purchase one of these systems. So if you'd like additional information for follow-up or sharing with other people inside your organization, there is a product page. It's got your one-stop shop for all the product details, contact information to get your own Arccelerate on order. And after the session, we can send out a link where you can access all of this content. Also on that page, there are links where you can download your own worksheets or brochures for the side-by-side and the index both. And you can review internally. It has a little more detail about technical specifications of each system that I wasn't able to cover in the time today. But always, it's also going to have our contact information in there. That's always the best thing to do. Reach out to us. we'll set up a call with me, you, Avandro, Charlie, one of our other welding team members, to make sure that we can get you the answers that you're looking for and help figure out, if our accelerate is the right option for you. So with that, Jules, I'll pass it back to you. Open up to take some questions and see if there's anything else we can answer.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks, James. So that concludes the presentation portion. If you have any further questions, please take the time and type them into the questions tab. But we did have a few roll in, so we'll jump right into those. First one, are these coming arc ready, complete with a welder, and what welder option do we have?
I'm sorry, Jules. I think it's on my end, but you cut out a little bit. Could you repeat that again?
Yes. Are these coming arc ready, complete with the welder, and what welder option do we have?
Yeah, they are coming arc ready. And as we said on there, you've got a Fronius option and a Lincoln option as a kind of a standard offering out of the box. Of course, if you just love blue power supplies or something else, it's always an option to get something different. It just wouldn't then fall in the standard pricing with everything else. But we do have a Fronius and a Lincoln that are both standard available at the base price.
Perfect, thank you. Are these built and shipped out of the US or are they coming from Germany?
Neither. So we are actually building and assembling these in Canada. We have a partner in space in Canada where it just kind of made sense for us at this time. That's where they're being assembled in a facility just outside of Toronto, and it's somebody that we've worked with for years. That's where we assemble them. And like I said, we keep kind of the Lego blocks, if you will. We keep them on the shelf, and it's really quite modular, so we can assemble and deliver them and with pretty good delivery.
Sounds good, thank you. When the right door is open, does it close off the other space?
Yeah, it was hard to see on the picture that I showed, but there's a divider wall on the side by side that does block off the opposite space. So the robot goes up and around the divider wall, but it keeps the operator safe when you're loading on the side that is not welding. So good question. It wasn't clearly seen, but if you get online, again, there are more pictures online, and there are videos that show a little bit more of the operation, but good question.
Is the welder available in water-cooled version?
Yeah, Charlie, do you know more specs about the welder itself?
Currently, it's just the air-cooled, but there's no reason that water-cooled couldn't be installed. These aren't really designed for enormous parts. The footprint's not that. I mean, it's not as big as some of the other cells that we have built. So there's really no, there's no reason we couldn't do a water-cooled.
All right, thank you. Will you have training on these specific systems in Shelby Township?
The answer to that is yeah. Each cell is going to come with some level of training. So that's something that we can get into more details with you when we do the quoting. And in fact, we have an indexing cell that is in Shelby Township right now.
When the workspace slide door opens, where does the door go?
When the works, it goes to
behind the other door.
Yeah, it goes to the other side, behind or in front of, depending on which side you are. It just slides to the other side.
Perfect. Thank you for clarifying. Input voltage requirement and amp service required.
So just 1 second, Jules, before I answer that, let me go back to the last question because I think I might know where it came from. The original side-by-side was a different door configuration. It had kind of the beta unit that we did had, I guess it'd be like a bifold door that kind of folded in half and stuck out from the footprint of the cell. We revised that with the launch of the official system. And so now it does one door, the doors are hard doors that slide kind of in front of each other to the left and to the right. And you're asking power requirements, Jules? Is that what the question was?
Yes, it says input voltage requirement and amp service. Question on
Charlie, you know the
Yeah, I mean it's designed for Canada and US, so it's 480,
480,
3
60.
phase, 60 hertz or 575. Yeah, but it's designed for US and
US.
Canada.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. So question on this cell is fully commissioned and production ready. Do the end customers need to program the safety, and where is the robot in is in space, or is there a pre-canned program already?
Yeah, it's going to be point-to-point programming by the customer. Again, there's always options for add-on. If you wanted us to do the tooling and programming, that's always option, but that's going to be in addition to the cost of the cell.
What are the IoT/Industry 4.0 options for the cell and for the power source?
Yeah, Charlie, that's you.
Yeah, I mean currently anything that you already get with, let's say, a Fronius, you would have to buy iCube. That's not something that comes standard with the cell. From the KUKA side, we have like iKUKA or IQOT, where you can manage your assets on our expert site, and if you needed to buy spare parts, you can do it through that same spot. You can monitor like uptime and things like that, but currently that's kind of the extent of it.
Thank you. Can I have a customized HMI on the SmartPad?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, like, let's say this goes to somebody as an integrator, they're welcome to create their own HMIs. These systems have easy HMI already installed. That's how we run the base system. So if the integrator wants to do something specific for their customers, it's all there already. They just have to make their HMI screen.
Thank you. On the index cell, is this the only one size, and what is the allowable workspace?
Yeah, first to keep it standard, that is the size that it comes in. Obviously, we could quote doing different size cells, but that would be a custom solution.
All right. Is dual robots an option?
So I didn't touch on it, but we do have a third cell, which is going to be launched. Actually, I think it was just going to be launched this month, where we have a 2-robot cell as an option. So yes, it does, and it has a Ferris wheel style positioner, and that one is different because whereas these two that we presented today do not have a PLC, the larger cell with 2-robot option will have a PLC involved to help coordinate things. That is available. Again, if you want to reach out, we can get you more information on specs with that.
Can you integrate a vision system?
yeah, it's just like any of our other applications. It's possible to integrate with this cell. There's no reason it can't be integrated. Obviously, it would be an additional cost, but there's no reason that can't be integrated as part of the package.
Making automation easier.